You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging out with you guys in studio. And today we have another guest interview lined up for you guys with none other than the man, the myth, the legend. We got DJ Aldrich from, is it Aldrich Lawn and Landscape, or what's your actual business's name, DJ?
It's just Aldrich Landscape LLC.
So I got it mostly right. I was close.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys don't know DJ, I say this a couple times on podcasts that you might be living under a rock, but DJ is a young stud. He's got it going on. He's got a booming business down in the Toledo, Ohio area, if I'm not mistaken. And yep. He's also growing a crazy fun social media following. Some of the meanest stripe games and photos in the game, I shall say. So we're really excited about having you on the show, man. What's your neck of the woods looking like right now? What are you up to today?
Today we're just doing some maintenance on my truck because it's raining. We finally started our first day of cleanups yesterday, though, so I'm excited about that.
Amen. That's awesome, dude. Well, let's do this. Let's get these guys up to speed for just a quick minute. If you got a little 2-minute bio here, I'd love to hear, your background, what your business looks like today, where you're located, all that fun stuff, and then we'll hear from the sponsors after that, and we'll break open your story and hear a little bit more about what you got going on.
Cool. So I'm DJ Aldrich. I'm 22 years old, and I co-own Aldrich Landscape along with my mom and dad. And my dad started the business back in 1988, and I graduated high school in 2017. So I've been working full time since then. But I started working in the summers during my freshman year, and I mean I've always kind of worked a little bit growing up as a kid, but full time since 2017.
Nice. And you're how old are you right now?
22.
22. And then where is your business located? Is it the Toledo, greater Toledo area, or where are you at?
It's Sylvania, Ohio, so it's just a suburb of Toledo.
That's right.
From my house, it's literally a 30-second drive to hit the Toledo line.
Nice. Okay.
And we do work kind of in the suburbs around it. We don't really go into Toledo very much.
Sure.
Because it gets a little sketchy down there, but we live in a nicer part of the woods,
For sure. Well, it's funny. Anytime I do a road trip and I'm coming up 75 in Ohio, Toledo's the last big city before I get home, which is about an hour and 20 minutes. So it's if I can drive through Toledo and make it through Toledo, I'm in the home stretch, So
yep.
anytime we're coming up north, or same thing when we're going down south, people are like, well, how far is Toledo? And I'm like, it's an hour and 17 minutes from my house to the nearest Chick-fil-A up until a year ago. So the Perrysburg exit was right there. And you guys know me, I'm a big Chick-fil-A fan. So anytime I went out of town, Liz and I always had to hit that Chick-fil-A off of Perrysburg Road. So this will be fun, man. Well, I'm excited about having you on the show. We've been trying to lock this down for a little while, and you're busy, I'm busy, but we caught you on a rain day. Yep. I looked at my phone and noticed this huge rainstorm that that's going through Ohio, and I said, there ain't no way he's doing cleanups today, man. So I was like, I texted you this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I texted you this morning, and you said you got a little bit of time this afternoon, so we're making it happen right now. So let's do this. I'm going to take my sip of water. I'm actually doing my third podcast for the day, so my voicing a little hoarse, little coarse. So we're going to have DJ doing most of the talking, but let's do this. Let's kick it over to really quick, Marty, Mr. Producer, to bring us all the show highlights, updates, and announcements, and then we're going to come right on back.
Ratings and reviews. Each week, we take a minute to highlight your guys' reviews of the show.
There are a bunch of reviews to get to today. Let's dive right in. The first one comes from Kickin' Grass. That's a kickin' name. Love it. He says, I absolutely love the podcast. I started listening to become more knowledgeable in the green industry, and now I'm challenging myself to be a better person. It's great all around. Kyle, who's with Premier Lawn Maintenance, says, first-time podcast listener. Fullerton Unfiltered is a great podcast. All of your information has helped me to be guided in the right direction and on what mistakes to avoid. Thanks, Brian and Mr. Producer. We always love the Mr. Producer shout-outs. Our next one is from Hartford Lawn Care. Read my review. Well, we're going to read your review. We're doing it right now. I like it. Read my review. Listening to this podcast has helped take me from my first season in Florida with only 6 clients to now having almost 30 a few months later. I'm 17 and hustling. Thank you, Hartford Lawn Care. This one is from GSX RJP. I'm not sure I'm following there. He says, great advice. I work 12-hour days at a lawn care company, and I'm going to be starting my own. Okay, I get it. You work for somebody else. You wouldn't want to put your name on this. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to be starting my own with the help of this podcast. Just recently started listening. I've got so much to catch up on, but this free podcast is definitely worth its weight in gold. Not sure if that's a compliment or not. Keep up the great work, and hopefully by next summer I can be featured. Kane Family Lawn Care. I love the motivation you give. I've been mowing for 15 years, finally starting my own lawn care business. Thanks for helping me crush it in 2021. Keep crushing it, Fullerton. And finally, SK Lawns. Awesome content, very knowledgeable and helpful, and the best part, it's unfiltered. I listen to the show while I'm out on the mower and would love the opportunity to share my story on the podcast. Well, everybody, it seems like, wants to be interviewed by Brian. Here's how that works, by the way. You send Mr. Producer some Bitcoin, and then I will put your name and information in front of Brian and tell him what a great guy you are and that you probably would make a great interview. So you got that? Bitcoin to Mr. Producer, and then we'll see what we can do with Brian.
Want us to read your review next? Let us know how we're doing, and we might just read your review on next week's show.
Step up your hearing protection game with the earmuffs you've been waiting for. Introducing IsoTunes Link. With up to 28 hours of battery life and a hands-free experience, Link is perfect if you prefer over-the-ear protection on the job. Sweat and water-resistant memory foam cushions deliver the level of comfort you want and the protection you need. Gear up with the next generation of hearing protection. Visit isotunes.com today.
Mr. Producer here, and I love quality audio. That's why I recommend IsoTunes. Save 10% on your next purchase with Brian's 10 at checkout. That's isotunes.com. And once again, here's Brian Fullerton.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it. So, DJ, you're 22, and what's the business looking like today? All I do all day long on Instagram is see that gray truck with the flatbed, your guys' mowing crew with that crazy utility trailer with like 3 or 4 mowers on it. What's the company looking like today? How are you guys doing?
Well, we're doing good. So we're actually a full-service company, but I post a lot of lawn stuff because I'm running the lawn crew. Mm-hmm. And the spring and fall cleanups and snow. And my dad takes care of the landscaping, fertilizing, and irrigation. So I can't really get too much footage of that. And it's kind of hard to get the other guys to get stuff. So yeah, a lot of lawns on the social media right now. But we have right around 185 lawn accounts.
Okay.
And that was with one crew last year. This year we're going to split into 2 crews just so we can pick up some more, get a little more efficient.
Wow.
And then last year we had 1 to 2 landscape crews depending on the day. And then we had a full-time irrigation crew throughout the season, which I think was the first time that we've ever had a full-time irrigation crew, which is awesome.
Wow. That's crazy. So you guys full service from the maintenance to the landscaping and construction and everything in between.
Yep.
That's awesome. So how did your dad get, so your dad started the business back, you said 10, 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah. 1988.
Wow. I was born in 86, brother.
So way back when I was just a thought.
I don't even think you were a thought yet. You know what I'm saying?
Probably not. Probably not then either.
Yeah, I was 2 back in 88. I was born in June 86. So that's crazy to think that your dad's been in business as long as I've been alive. That's an impressive testament too to his ability to not only start a business but grow it, stay in business, and blossom it to what it is today. Was it always a huge maintenance company, or more recently did it kind of branch off into the landscape and irrigation side of things, or what's his bread and butter the last 25 years?
So he actually started off the business doing firewood, and he sold that, and that's how he ended up getting the money to buy lawn equipment. And then from there, for the first, I don't know how long, it was quite a few years, but he would mow like 1 or 2 days a week, and then he'd landscape the rest. And then eventually he'd mow, 3 or 4 days a week, landscape the rest. And then at a certain point, he got to where he had to send out a lawn crew on their own, and then another crew went and did landscaping. But he's told me so many stories about back when he was younger. He was just real heavy in like landscape design and construction because he was the one out doing the work. So he'd be out there, one or two guys doing big projects all day long. And as he got a little bit older, he kind of, stepped back and started running the business. And that's when he got more into like maintenance and this and that, really.
Okay, that's awesome, man. And so now you have been running the maintenance division. What's that been like the last 12, 18 months or a little bit longer?
Since 2017 when I got out of school 2017, and then I went to college the next year just for one semester. I ended up hating it, so I dropped out.
Okay.
And then the spring of 2018 is when I started full time.
Nice. And so are you like quarterback, and you said you have the one crew. How many guys do you have with you?
So last year we had one crew of 5, and we have like a really dense route here. So, some neighborhoods are 4 to 6 houses like right in a row on a street. Mm-hmm. And then, we'll have a couple more in the neighborhood, but for the most part, it's, 10 to 15 houses per neighborhood. And then we'll go to the next neighborhood and we'll do another 5 to 6 houses. So we're not doing a lot of driving. And I've been kind of having troubles getting, quality, dependable guys that I could trust to run a crew at the same level I do.
Sure.
So we just always stuck with one big crew. And last year I finally got 2 really, really good guys that I can completely trust. So we're starting a second crew this year. And I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth between each crew. And then my goal is to get myself out of mowing. And I want to start up my own like landscape, hardscape install only crew. And then we'll have the other landscapers run the maintenance side.
Oh, wow. Okay. There you go. That's awesome, man. That's really ambitious. Are you guys with the hardscape, the business that you want to start for you personally, is that something that you're just passionate about or just see some extra money or profit in there? Or what's your thoughts with that?
Well, when I started off mowing, so my first year that I was working here in the summer, I did all landscaping. And, I was this 14, 15-year-old kid, and I had a couple buddies out there with me, and my dad would just work us hard.
Sure.
And we did a couple nice installs, and then we'd go weed and mulch for the rest of the time. And I just wasn't a big fan of, the maintenance side, doing all the weeding and the mulching. It was just kind of slow to me. So one day, one of the lawn care guys did not show up, and then I went on the lawn crew the rest of the day, and I loved it. It was nice and fast-paced. We worked like a 10-hour day, and it felt like nothing to me. Yeah. So I talked to my dad, and he threw me on the lawn crew, and I just kind of stuck with it ever since. But now, I mean, it's mowing lawns every day. It's just very repetitive, and I want to kind of challenge myself a little bit more just because I feel like what I'm doing is too easy, and I want to, use my brain to its fullest potential.
Sure.
Instead of, sitting on a mower kind of zoned out half the day because I've, done it thousands of times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can totally understand that and relate to that. A lot of guys don't like the maintenance because it's just repetitive, and it's like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but do you ever feel like when you get done with a property, you almost finish it within a minute or two of the same time you did last week?
We're always racing to do it faster, but we keep the quality, so
yeah, well,
kind of whatever. But
it's always funny. There's lawns that I do where I'm like, I swear, like last week we finished this exactly at 3:29 p.m. in the afternoon, and this week we're finishing at 3:31. And it is kind of funny because you'll see like another crew or maybe a fertilizer guy in the same subdivision, and you're like, man, he's like on the exact same schedule, and you go down the road and he's cutting the same lawn at the exact same time. So I do see that with mowing a little bit. It can get a little repetitive, but my personality type, I like predictability and things that are repetitive actually. So it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, but that'll be a really fun opportunity though for you with the hardscaping. So you're going to do like construction, like pavers, patios, like renovations, rip out, reinstalls, or what are you guys going to be doing?
So right now, whenever we get any sort of hardscaping job in, any like outdoor living area type thing,
yeah,
or even just like landscape installs, we have like 1 or 2 landscape crews. So what we'll do is we'll send those 2 crews to team up on it, and they'll do it together. And then we're not doing the maintenance that day. So my goal is to kind of have me and one other guy to start out. We'll do any of the install work, just us 2, and then we'll still have the maintenance crew out doing their thing.
Cool.
So it'll just be, another way of income for that day instead of taking one crew and sending them over to do that.
Sure. One question I have for you is, and I always see this with the post that you share on Instagram, is like that huge rig. Is that the mow rig that goes out with a couple Bobcats?
Yeah. So that's actually my personal truck. and I usually ride in that with one other guy, and then we have another truck follow us with a dump trailer for grass because we bag just about everything here.
Oh, really? No kid.
Yeah, usually it's a 12-foot dump trailer. It has 4-foot high sides, and we usually fill it completely to the top every day.
Really? I didn't know that. Is that just something you guys do in your neck of the woods, or does it just leave a cleaner finish, or what's your guys' thought process behind that?
Yeah, so just about every like high quality company here, they bag, and then you have they're the cheap guys who just go out and cut lawns. But for our type of clientele that we're shooting for, almost all of them want bags, and there's some real big ones that they'll opt to not get bagged because they don't want to pay the extra money for it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot of properties here, real high end, that have a lot of landscape beds and mulch, and if you don't bag it, it'll just be a complete mess.
Sure.
Also, a lot of our clients have dogs, and they've complained in the past. They've had a company that didn't bag it, and then their white dog comes inside after rolling around in the grass. They're all green, and they don't like it. So
that's funny right there. That's a good visual as well. It was just St. Patrick's Day yesterday at the time of this recording, and I saw a couple people dye their dog, and I'm like, that's not right.
Really?
And yeah, little white poodles, I'm like, you can't do that to a dog.
A little overboard.
Yeah, but I guess nobody really got to celebrate it last year, I guess. So I guess this is the year to go all out, right? But that's funny. Well, what's some fun stories that you got with social media, man? That's where probably a lot of people know you from. Did you just start with taking a couple of photos because you were excited about the work you guys did, or what was your claim to fame with getting started on Instagram and then lately TikTok, man? You've been blowing up.
Yeah, so when I started off working, I took a lot of pictures just to kind of show my dad, like, stripes I would do that day, or if we're doing a landscape job, I would just take it to show him. And then I ended up with, after summer, 500-600 photos in my photo gallery. So over the winter, I was like, what can I do with these? Like, where can I post these? And then all of a sudden, later that day, I go on my Explore page on Instagram, and all these lawn companies and landscape companies start popping up.
Sure.
Well, hey, perfect. I made a page. I just started posting stuff on there, and I'm very OCD about a lot of things. So like all my pictures, no matter what it is of, like if it's of me or just anything else, they have to be absolutely perfect, the right angle, the right lighting. And I've always done that with my lawn and landscape pictures. So I just started posting a lot. Eventually I figured out people are using hashtags. So I found good hashtags to use, and the page has just kind of grown ever since. Yeah,
no kidding. What are you guys up to right now on Instagram? Any idea?
I think I just hit 22.1K last night, I think.
That's awesome, man. 22,000 people following you and your work and your family's business. Any suggestions to these guys that want to grow a little bit larger following? Like, why do you do it? You just, like you said, you just enjoy it and you were taking photos all day, and now you're just trying to keep up to the level of quality and the hype that you've created, because you got some of the best stripes out there, brother.
I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, at first I just kind of posted photos, and then once I started to get 400 or 500 followers, people would start commenting or DMing me and saying, good job. They'd ask me questions, and then I started getting, the younger guys who are first, second year in business asking for advice, and then you have guys who say they look up to you and everything, and it was just very, very humbling to me knowing that, I go out and I just do my job every day.
Amen.
I post something online, and you get a little praise for it, and it feels good that people out there really respect and appreciate the quality of work that you do. And it's also really cool to be able to learn from guys, but also to be able to help out younger guys who might not know things, because I've learned over the last couple of years, I've learned a lot of stuff from guys on Instagram, just DMing me, giving me a suggestion on, seeing something I would do.
Mm-hmm.
I'd try it their way, and it ended up working out better. And it's just cool having a community of guys who are the same as you, and they have the same mindset, and you guys are all going out and doing the same thing. So
Amen
it's nice to help people out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And not everybody has that quality or that characteristic about them at such a young age like you do. And frankly, we don't get those people on our show. So the folks that I get on the show, they're givers, they're kind people, they like to help. And honestly, every time you get promoted to me all the time with just the algorithm, so whatever you're doing
really?
all the time, dude. I mean, I can't look at my home screen, right, with all the collage of different photos and videos, and especially in the summer, because we're all working. There's a green, killer stripe, photo, and the way you put your filter on there and your preset, it just and sometimes it's not even with a filter, for crying out loud, which is even crazier. and I'm like, man, look at those green bold stripes. And I click it and it's DJ. And I'm like, they got me again. So it's always fun getting to see your photos, CNI's photos. Jeremy connects with Jay Jacobs with mowing his front yard. I see a time lapse. I'm like, there's Jacob.
Oh yeah. His lawn is ridiculous. It is so beautiful.
It stripes well, doesn't it? And,
yeah,
you guys always make me jealous. It's like lawn porn. I got to like do a better job here, you know? So it's, you guys always have great photos and I love looking at it. And I have a goal I was telling Liz the other day was, when our property is like done, I'm going to, nuke it with FERT and overseed it and make it look as good as we can, of course. Well, I'm like, I'm going to try to make my stripes look as good as DJ's and as good as Jeremy's front yard, So you guys inspire me, man. I love watching your guys' photos and videos on Instagram. It's always, sometimes I'm watching it for too long. I'm like, I got to get off this thing. I know DJ stripes. All right, I got to go, So
yeah, I do the same thing to other people.
That's funny, man. It's the Instagram rabbit hole. We all get stuck down it once in a while, and usually it's when I'm in the office, but that's a whole nother story. Well, let me ask you this, man. You're a young guy out there. You're 22. You're making it happen. What's some thoughts or suggestions that you got for guys that are maybe in your same age group, like 18 to 25? Whether they're working for themselves, their family business, or they started their own thing. Any suggestions for those guys to grow a better business? Because you're in a leadership role in your dad's company, like making sure all the mowing gets done. So what's some helpful tips you have for these guys that are just getting this thing off the launching pad?
I always tell my employees this, and like any new guys or whatever you're doing, whatever project you're on, whatever property you're on, do it how you would like it done at your house. Go for the absolute best quality, like kind of like showroom type quality. And as long as you're doing really good and, you're working hard, you're not standing around talking and messing around, people are going to really appreciate it and like it. And on top of that, the neighbors are going to be watching. And, when they see you out there working your butt off, then you get in your truck and you drive away. You don't sit there for 15 or 20 minutes after. It just starts to impress people. And then the neighbors notice, they start telling other people. And then after that, word of mouth is a crazy thing. That's how we've grown our business. And so actually, I'm going to circle back to this real quick. When I started working full time, my dad only had about 68 lawn accounts.
Oh wow, okay.
And then in the next 2 or 3 years, they just started going up and up and up. And each year we'll lose a couple from people moving or a couple people will pass away. But we've always, if we lose 3, we pick up 9 or 10. And it's all word of mouth. This is the first year actually I did a little bit of Facebook advertising, like $60-$70 on Facebook advertising, and we got a couple calls from it. But other than that, it's all word of mouth. And your customers appreciate it, the neighbors notice it, and then out of nowhere your business will just start to take off.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's great advice. I think acting in a professional manner is like the one thing that can set you apart from all the, like you said, the $20 mow and blow guys, and guys that, they have their hat on backwards and they're smoking a cigarette while their other buddies dipping. And I'm like, and if you do that,
I cannot stand that.
Yeah, and if you do, like, if those are your vices, God bless you. I'm not gonna yell down your throat. But at the same point, I had an employee actually for like 3 months. He was a friend of a friend, and he was okay. This was like my startup years, like my second or third year. But he was dipping all the time. But he would just walk and dip, and I'm like, he didn't even have the bottle or anything. He would just walk and dip, and I'm like, dude, you can't be doing that on people's yards. And I'm not getting in your face if you do that. Like, God bless you. But I'm just saying, it's not the most professional thing you could do or should be doing, let alone it's not healthy for you. Let's just, call a spade. But it's the same thing with guys not having like, clean shirts or shirts tucked in or, having a hat on. Look like a professional. And, you're smart to not only subscribe to that yourself, but to pass that thought process on to the guys that you have on the crew. That's really, really smart of you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so another thing, like since I've been in business and, we're all about like customer service and the professional look, I've also noticed that every single place that I go now, if I go somewhere and I get poor service and people don't really care, I don't go back and I don't shop there. That's just how I am now.
Smart.
That's what really matters in the end. So, because whatever you're doing, you're spending money, whether it's, a little bit or a lot, you want that high quality service because it just makes it that much better.
Amen. And well, and like you said, that's how word of mouth travels. And some people are like, "Why nobody ever refers me?" I'm like, "Well, maybe it's because you look like a hobo, you know." And it's like, and honestly, it's not really probably to anybody listening to this podcast. It's definitely, you know, you can tell. I can tell when I'm like, dude, it's because you're smoking like crazy in and out of the truck, and like if you do that, that's fine. But like at the same point, if you're in a $1 million subdivision, people don't want that on their property, and you gotta play the part, man. You know, tuck in the shirt, yes sir, no sir, and rock and roll. You know, so question I have for you, talking equipment for a quick minute. You rock out a lot with Bobcat and a lot of their mowers. Any mower of choice or preference of choice? I know you're a big stand-on guy. A lot of guys love talking equipment for a few minutes. What's your go-to mower and setup right now?
So currently we have 5 Bobcats. We have 361s, 52, and then a 36. And we actually just ordered another Bobcat. And so right now we have 4 stand-ons, 1 rider. The rider is 5 years old. It's the oldest mower we have. So it's kind of sort of a backup. We still use it here and there. Mm-hmm. But the rest of them are all stand-ons. And the first year that I started mowing, I used the rider a couple times. And I just felt a little lazy on it. We're doing smaller lawns, you know. I have to get up and pick up sticks, do whatever.
Sure.
And I just didn't really like sitting all day. So my dad ended up buying a stand-on the next year. I just fell in love with it, how comfortable it is, like the view you get on it. I just felt, a lot more productive on it.
Amen.
And Bobcat's been a great brand to us also. My dad's used them for, I think, he's pushing probably 30 years now running Bobcats. And they've just been great to us always.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, and by the way, I'm clicking through your Instagram here, and I'm just like, I was in the phase, man. I was in the days looking at the green stripes. I'm like, man, this guy is like smoking it with all the green, all the green lawns. It looks great. Well, let me ask you this: was Bobcat reach out to you guys to potentially work together? Because I think you're doing a little bit of promotion with them. I don't want to say like ambassador or anything like that, but I think you work with Bobcat a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I'm in the process of trying to a little bit. We have a little bit of a relationship going on, and I'm just kind of waiting to see like what they want to do with it. They have a small group of guys who run Bobcats that they've been talking to, and I guess we'll just see where that goes in the future. But I'm hoping for good things. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I had anybody there, I'd make a call for you, but I don't have anybody at Bobcat. But they should pick up the phone and give a shout to you, man, because you probably have outside of maybe Christian the most views and likes and impressions on Bobcat mowers that I know of on social media. I'll tell you that. What's your opinion on the green mowers versus the white mowers for Bobcat? For any of my Bobcat listeners out there, the brand got bought out from Bobcat, the construction landscape company, versus the mowing company. So I know the color scheme's changed a little bit. You've been able to rock those a little bit. Any input, feedback on the new brand versus the old brand?
Yeah, so the new white stand-on that I have on my page, we have the same model green mower, and it's the same exact looking model. Basically, everything's the same, except for they have an upgraded deck on it, a new Kawasaki engine, which is an EFI, which is as far as my knowledge goes, the first Kawasaki EFI engine.
Yeah,
because the old one didn't have that.
I think so. Yep.
And then they have there's a couple little maintenance things on it. They made some supports a little stronger than the old mower. And then on the EFI models, you get a dial to turn up the throttle instead of a throttle cable now, which is,
yes.
At first, I thought cool, whatever, but it's actually really comfortable throughout the day, just twisting a dial.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So they're basically the same mower, just upgraded.
Okay.
They just took the old models and they kind of fixed up what they needed to. Also, the steering on it, like the hydraulics, they're a lot more smooth now. They're very responsive, but also smooth. It's basically perfect now.
That's what I was going to suggest or mention a second ago. When I got the right Christian's, I swung by his house when I was in Illinois last, and I noticed that the little like the dampener system or whatever's on their controls is way better than the previous unit.
Yeah, way better. The old one was nice and smooth, but it wasn't as responsive as the new white ones are.
Sure. Well, it's going to be a lot harder to keep them all white, though, with all the green and the grass stains, So, I don't know.
To be honest, they actually stay really clean compared to the green ones because the black deck, it hides the dirt really well. And I mean, like the white casters on it, they'll get dirty, but the rest of the mower, the white's all up pretty high, so you have a pretty easy time keeping it clean.
Really? Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to know. I was
very surprised when I found that out.
Well, I'm looking at some of your photos and obviously cutting like the wet grass in the morning and, it's just caked on there. And I'm like, man, that's it's gonna be hard to keep those clean, but that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was a windy morning also, so that didn't help.
Is that what that was? That's awesome.
Windy morning, wet grass, and no bag.
Yeah, well, there you go, man. Well, I love the stripes. I was going through your Instagram while you were talking a couple minutes ago, and I think you have it just going on, man. You're 22, you're a young stud, you're kicking butt. Where are you at right now with for the next couple of years? Is this going to be the opportunity to maybe take over the company from your dad, right? I don't know when he wants to retire 5-10 years from now, or have you guys have those conversations, or what's your 4 or 5 year game plan with running the company?
Yeah, so my dad, he's told me he wants to work, maybe another 10 years probably, and then retire from there. But the nice thing is he'll always be around to help me, and he'll always be here to have my back. But he's getting a little older. He's not old by any means, but he's getting a little older. He's worked his butt off since he's been, younger than me. And I'm starting to get a lot of it figured out really well. All I need to do is, learn some of the bidding on the landscape side, and I should be good to go.
That's
Other
awesome.
than that, we're I've kind of built the company up to a pretty good stage, and now we're starting to get into some more bigger properties where we can pass off some of the real small lawns we have to one of my friends in town who's in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lawn company going, and kind of get it to the most profitable, manageable spot we can, and just roll with it from there. Really.
I like it, man. Find those sweet spots where you're exceedingly profitable and can't really go wrong with that. Well, let's button it up right here, man. This has been fun. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show, and whether you're 21 or 41, I don't take it for granted that you guys make time for me to be on the podcast to share your guys' story. So let me ask you this, maybe just wrap up thought. Anything we always try to land the plane here, DJ, with saying anything that you want to pour out there or give back. This is your time to shine, and see if you want to give any words of wisdom to the next guy. Anything that's been a guiding principle or something that maybe these guys listening in can learn from?
So one thing that I've always kind of lived by in business is, do everything to the fullest potential, put all your effort into it and really give it 100%. And, whatever you're going to do, always try to be, do the best that you can, but also pay attention to the competition around you, what the guy next to you is doing. And just make sure you're always a step above everybody else, because once you are, the people around you are going to notice. And the possibilities are endless then.
That's awesome, man. Well, we always say on our show, man, nobody pays good money for 3s and 4s. They only pay good money for 9s and 10s. Amen. So
Yep.
You guys are 9s and 10s in my book. At least that's what I see on Instagram. And so it's really cool just to see what you guys got going on. And I don't know your dad, but I remember you guys shooting me I think an Instagram DM video. You guys were getting your lights installed at Route 1. And you're like,
yeah.
You're like, hey, me and my dad say hey. And I'm like, I don't even know your dad, but tell your dad I said what up now. So
yeah, I remember that.
That was really funny. I think you guys were just chilling in there for 8 hours as Yusuf did his thing on one of your rigs. So and then I think you tagged me Brian's tent, and I think that's where it started. I'm like, hey, thanks, bro. I didn't even know you follow my stuff, right? So, but
yeah,
we appreciate the support too, man. So, all right, well, we'll kind of button it up right here, man. I don't want to take your whole afternoon. I know you guys got a bunch of stuff to get back to, and even though it's a rain day, there's still plenty of stuff to do around the house and the shop, man. So, if you guys enjoyed this one, definitely check out DJ. Really quick, DJ, where can people find you?
We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Aldrich Landscape. Just look that up and you'll find us. We have our logos like a little green tree with a white background.
Yep.
Can't miss it.
Type in Aldrich, ALDRICH. It'll come on up because it'll do the predictive text thing. And as soon as you type in ALD, it'll probably bring up our boy DJ here because he's killing the game, crushing it with Instagram, TikTok, everywhere he's at, and some of the meanest stripes in the game. So keep doing what you're doing, bud.
I appreciate it, man.
100%. You got it going on. And if I don't get to catch up with you, on air between now and, spring and summer, hopefully you guys have a great season as we all get out there and start making it happen. But maybe later this fall or going into winter, we'll get you back on the show, get a little update as we go back into snow plowing season. Because you guys had a decent last month or two of snow plowing I saw. And so once we transition back to that, maybe we'll get a little update. How about that?
Awesome. I'm down.
All right, brother. Cool. Well, guys, we'll button it up right here. This has been another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Hopefully just to give you guys a little daily motivation as you guys listen in and hear some different perspectives of guys that are out there making it happen. And today we had 22-year-old young superstar DJ Aldrich on the show, and we definitely appreciate the time. So, guys, we'll catch up with you here on the next episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch up with you here on the next one.
Stay protected and connected as you grow your lawn care business. Ditch your uncomfortable earplugs or muffs and step up your game with IsoTunes. Hearing protection you'll want to wear. IsoTunes provides protection you need and freedom you deserve. Merging high-quality audio with unsurpassed durability, IsoTunes delivers OSHA-compliant protection to last you season after season. Gear up with the next generation of hearing protection. Visit isotunes.com today.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.